Nice little music
All
going
right.
on. How you guys doing? Good? I didn't get to shake your hand. Nice to meet you guys.
I'm Angie.
Oh, Angie. I think I did spoke to you on the phone.
Oh,
And
yes,
husband,
yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And then Joseph, Chad, Sabrina, and then Michaela. Okay, cool. Right on.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for your attendance today. It means a lot. I know it's a Friday night. There's probably a lot more fun things to do than sit in a class. But hopefully we're going to make it worth your time. And we like educating and sharing what we know and sharing what's helped us become successful in our careers. So I guess without further ado, so my name is AJ Griffin. I'm the owner of the Griffin Real Estate Team. I personally am stationed full-time in St. George, but I like to come up here and be with Jose often. Jose is a full-time agent here in Utah County. And what we do is we buy, sell homes, and we also help people build homes. So I guess first of all, what makes you guys come out tonight to a class on a Friday night? What kind of questions are going through your head that makes it seem like it might be worth it to come hang out with us?
How to buy a home, what are the steps that we need,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Right on.
Anything else?
I've known friends and family that went into it, and then after the fact, we're like, oh, it would have been nice to know this, or it would have been nice to know that, and they just jumped in faster than they planned.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of things to know. There's a lot of mistakes that people can make, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Any other reasons?
I think the market's just changing a lot, and we want to be able to keep up with how we can be best prepared to buy a house.
Definitely,
I
yeah.
feel like for our generation, it's become this almost impossible thing for people. Just like, oh, is it even possible for me to buy a house? And we're trying to. So we just want to make sure we can
Yeah,
be as educated as we can.
That's a
I
good
love
answer.
that. Yes.
Yeah, and I think just really preparing, not just financially to buy a house, but trying to figure out what all of the things we need to be looking for and need to be doing to be successful in this process.
Very good. So actually, back in 2016, I was about 24 years old, and I wanted to buy a condo in Provo. You guys are gonna hate the price it was. It was $130,000 for a 3-bedroom condo about a mile from BYU campus. Unfortunately for me, at that point in time, I had never owned a credit card. I had some money saved away. I had enough to cover the down payment. I didn't have a credit card. I got denied. They said, you have to have credit to buy a house because we don't know if you can pay back debts or not.
Right.
And then it took me a couple years to build my credit up to be able to do that. So definitely good things to know. Give you a quick background about myself. So real estate, I always say it kind of chose me. I never really chose it. It just kind of happened. So I was telling them earlier, I'm a BYU graduate. I went to BYU to be a school psychologist because I wanted to help kids. I quickly found that there's not a lot of time to do that amongst writing very, very long, boring reports. And I do not like sitting in the office. If you guys get to know me, I'm always running around, moving around, running from this place to that place. Telling me to sit in an office is like torture. So I did it for 5 school years though. And actually, while I was doing that, I started to get into real estate at the time. So right out of BYU, I bought a 4-bedroom townhouse in South Provo. And at the time, this was 2019, it was about $250,000 for that townhome. And my mortgage was about $2,000 a month. And if you were gonna rent one of those at the time, it would have been about $1,200. So on paper, it didn't make a lot of sense. But I looked at it a different way, which was I was bringing all my roommates with me and they were all gonna pay me $400 each. And in that way, I was then able to afford a house, even though I was never gonna be able to pay $2,000 a month. So anyway, that got me into real estate. About 2 years later, I refinanced that townhome because it was 2020 and the rates went super low as they were trying to combat the crash and all that crazy COVID stuff. So I got a 2.9% interest rate on it. It turned my mortgage from $2,000 to $1,200. I've kept that the whole time. I've since moved away, but there are people in there, and they pay me about $2,400 in rent every month, and
And your rent and your
my mortgage
was-
is only $1,200 to this day.
so active
So-
cash flow, which is awesome.
Now that may be discouraging for sure, but know that the market does these cycles usually about every 10 years. So it's not like you've missed the boat. Yeah, it is going to take a few years to start to look something like that. After I bought that townhome, I bought a duplex in Santa Quin, Utah. I lived in the top, rented the bottom, was able to afford that. And the same time I kept that townhome, which was still renting. And now I had 2 properties with renters paying most of both my mortgages. And then I did it again. I got a townhome in Santa Quin. And then after that, I moved to St. George, and I have a home in St. George. So now I have 4 homes, and I have not paid the majority of the mortgages
You're
on
living
those.
for free on your sixth home, basically.
Right.
So that's
So-
the beauty of it.
And also, with all that, I was never in real estate until I was buying one of my last homes. I was just doing a regular thing, having a regular 9-to-5 job and I worked in the school, so I was not like I was making a lot of money. So all that to say, it is possible to buy a home. There are also some very cool tools that I'm excited to tell you guys about as far as lending programs and government grants that actually make it easier to buy a home than when I bought a home. So here's our team though. This is Jose, I'm AJ. Aubrey is down in St. George. She handles all the paperwork and makes sure that we do it right. She keeps us organized. She keeps the office from falling apart, which is great. And then Jeff Worthington, this is our team lender, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. As far as our resume, so I've sold over 100 homes. I sold 53 homes in 2025. Jeff Worthington, he has wrote over 8,000 mortgages in over the past 30 years. So we're very experienced, and we genuinely have your guys' best interests at heart.
Oh, yeah.
We want to make sure that you guys get a good deal, and we want to make sure that it makes sense for you and your family.
100%. I wanted to add, he's also a mortgage broker, so he's basically going to find the best deal when it comes to interest rate. So
Yeah,
a lot
Jose,
of
can you
people-
explain to them the
Yeah.
difference between a mortgage broker and, let's say, going to Mountain America?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Mountain America is basically, credit unions are great because they're for the people, but not all the time. You know, they are just going to be able to offer you one certain amount of interest based on what the interest rate is right now, 6.1. But, you know, Jeff will be able to find the best rate, and he'll shop around, and then depending on you guys' situation, what kind of property you're going to get into, what kind of loan program you're going to get, he'll get you the best deal. So that's really good news.
Yeah.
You know?
So to clarify, Jeff, he has over 60 banks that he can choose from, and he can have them all compete for your business on what interest rate they're going to give you. Mountain America, it's got one. Mountain
Yeah.
America, it's their money. So if they've got a good rate at the time, it's great to use them. If they don't, you can find a better deal elsewhere. So
Yeah.
that's why Jeff can help us find, the best ones. So first of all, I have this graph here. Maybe you guys had a chance to read it, but this is the real estate value market since 1900. What do you guys notice here? It's always going up, right?
A little downward.
Yeah. So in 2008, we saw it was hitting to a peak, and you guys remember what happened then? That was the 2008 housing crisis.
Right over here, right?
Now, the really cool part about this housing crisis is if you look at where it hit again, it was about 3 years later that if you were able to hold on to your house, if you could hold on to it for 3 years, you were back even and you're making money on your home again. So that's the biggest crash in the history of real estate, and it took 3 years to recover from it. And now it's just been going up and up and up. So.
Yeah.
The NRA, by the way, they have found that the average homeowner is 43 times higher net worth than the average renter. Why would that be? Do you guys have any ideas?
Well, it's a value that goes up, so.
Right.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is, for example, I could say kind of like my story. I got a townhome. It was worth $308. That was in February of 2023. Obviously, the market's been going up, but now I'm at $364. So if I were to sell tomorrow, I get 64 grand in my bank. So compared to somebody that's renting, you know,
Mhm.
it's like you're just gonna rent, you're gonna throw your money away towards if you get into a home 2 or 3 years down the road, you'll be able to make some money off of it. And that's why it's always better to own than to rent.
All right, so I have a quick story. Back in 2018, 2019, when I bought my home, I had another friend that was looking at homes. They actually got under contract. We'll talk more about what that means in a moment. But they had been renting a really awesome deal for like $900 a month. That's hard to pass up, right? And it fit their family. It worked. Their new mortgage was going to be a 3-bedroom home for about $1,600 a month at the time, which that sounds pretty awesome nowadays, of course. But for them, especially in 2019, that was a lot of money. They ended up getting cold feet. They pulled out of the deal. They said, no, we don't want to do it. So they didn't buy the home. They kept renting at $900. However, that didn't last for too long. So in 2019, they stayed at $900 a month. In 2020, their landlord raised them a little bit. And then in 2021, their family grew and they needed a bigger place. Also, if you guys remember what happened during COVID, as far as with real estate, renting, what happened to all of our prices? They took off. Rents almost doubled. Home values doubled in a lot of cases. So they had a pretty sweet rent, but then in 2020, as they had to go and get something a little bigger to fit their family, they ended up paying almost $2,500 a month. When a couple years earlier, they could have got into a $1,600 mortgage. And the great part about mortgages, they don't go up. Those are 30-year fixed mortgages. So as time goes on, the
Have
deal
the
gets
same
better
payment.
and better for you guys.
And then sometimes you'll be able to refinance down the road and get a better payment. So then it's going to ease off. If for whatever reason, if it's a little bit too high, you'll be able to refinance, and it's a good deal.
So over here in the second column, had they just bought that house, the first 2 years they would have been paying more into their overall housing expenses. But in 2021, they would have been able to refinance and get that payment down to about $1,100 a month or so. And it would have stayed there until today. They also would have paid off $57,000 off of their mortgage. And they would have made about $200,000 in equity because the market went so high. Yeah. Okay. So that leads us to right now. Is it a good time? How do we know it's a good time? We're real estate guys. We're going to tell you yes, right?
Anytime. I guess, well, like you mentioned, the interest rate right now is pretty high. It's like 6.3 or something like that, from what I know.
Yeah.
The main idea is because of that, a lot of people are trying to sell. A lot of homes are actually still like just not being sold.
Right.
I saw a thing where it's like almost 10% of homes were delisted and stuff like that. So
Average days on market about 70 days. It used to be average days on market was about 15. That's a big difference, right?
yeah. So it's from my end, I think selling is a little trickier, but buying is, hey, if it's something that someone needs to move, make the deals happen, or hey, we can get into the home, see what can be conceded or consent, like reduced, and then later refinance if the interest rate is really high.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're about to talk about some programs and stuff.
Well, before that, I just want to say you were getting close to what I was going to tell you guys. Basically, right now is the best time because since there's a lot of homes on the market, there's a lot of sellers eager to sell. So you guys being buyers have the ability to say, I want this house at these conditions. I want, let's say, $10,000 worth of closing costs, and this is my offer. And most of the time, if they've been on the market for about 60 days, they're going to say, yeah.
So Jose, there's a lot of truth to that answer, but it's not the right answer.
What do you mean?
The right answer about what, so we're talking about what are indicators of when to buy. You could argue, is it the interest rate when the interest rates are low? Is it when they're high so that you get a lower price? We could talk about all these things for days and days, but the right time to buy is very individual. I never advise my clients to buy unless it's comfortable for them and their family.
Yeah.
So how do we know that? Can you just turn that off, Jose?
Yeah, sure.
Just close it or turn it down. So what we're gonna do, what you'll do is we'll look at your personal situation. So do you have a job that you feel confident you're gonna be at for at least the next year or two? If that's a no, then probably we'll probably a little cautious, right? Is your family stable? Is it growing? Are you expecting any big financial problems coming at you? Do you feel comfortable with the payments for the house that you're going to buy and all those different things? So it's also kind of like buying a stock. You can try to time it, and some people are very good at it. You can try to time it, and some people are basically gamblers. They're just throwing their money away, right? So in real estate, time in the market beats timing the market. And you guys just need to buy the house when you're good and ready, you feel comfortable, and it makes sense for your situation. And so we here at the Griffin team, we're never going to push you to do something you're not ready for or that's not good for you and your family. We're here to help you and to have all the tools to make informed decisions and to say, yeah, okay, you are ready to buy. Now let's go get the very best deal. Let's negotiate against the sellers to get you credits. And let's go sit with the lender and get you the very best deal and the very best program. So anyways, we hope that you guys are comfortable working with us. And we would always want everyone to just be, if you want to work with us and you're comfortable, we love to help you. We'll never push you. So, all right. So when I bought my first home, so I tried in 2016, like I said, did not build any credit. Once I built some credit, I tried again in 2018 and I was successful. Now, back then, there were no first-time buyer programs. I needed to come up with 5% down, and that was about every penny I had just to get into the house. Once I got in, I now had the biggest mortgage payment or rent payment I'd ever seen in my life coming at me in 30 days. And it was stressful. I was like getting side jobs. I was getting my renters in there. It was scary, right? Well, nowadays, we have several programs that are going to help you guys a lot. So the first one I want to talk about is Chenoa. Have you guys ever heard that before? Chenoa is a 3.5% gift payment program. So if you qualify for this program and they have qualifications like, hey, you're not supposed to make above $100,000, this and that, right? Well, if you qualify for this program, a government grant will give you a 3.5% down payment. The rest will be financed and will become your mortgage payment, and you can literally get into a house with zero down. Really cool. If you pay on time for 3 years, that 3.5% down payment is forgiven, and you don't ever have to pay it back. Really, really cool program. Have you guys heard of Utah Housing or the $20,000 grant? So there's another one in the state of Utah. If you buy new construction, the state of Utah will give you $20,000 towards your down payment and your closing costs. However, that will have to be paid back when you sell the house, so it's not quite as good.
Yeah. I have that one.
And he has that one, and yeah.
Yeah, so the Chenoa is better.
Chenoa is definitely better.
I wish I would have gotten that one because it's 100% finance, which both of them are, but you have two mortgage payments basically. So, but you should be good.
And today, as of last month, the prices across the state of Utah are at the lowest they've been since about 2022. We're at our mortgage rates. They were up above 7% for a couple years, and they're finally dipping into the low sixes. We even see the fives on certain days. As you guys know, like a stock, mortgage rates go up and down every day. So, yeah. All right. So we may have slipped in a few terms that were unfamiliar. We definitely apologize if we're saying things and you're like, what is this guy? He just said under contract. He just said pre-approval. Anyways, Jose has been studying this all week, and he's going to share about the overall process of what's going to happen when you try to buy a house. Go ahead, Jose.
Definitely. So I guess the process, right, step by step. As far as browsing, browsing means it's kind of like when the mortgage lender is looking for, like I was talking about, Jeff, he looks for the best rate and kind of the best programs out there. And
what does that mean for them? What does it mean when they're browsing?
Yeah. Well, definitely. When you guys are browsing, a lot of factors come into place. Basically, you're looking at what kind of mortgage payment you guys would like to have, and what kind of loan term you would like. Also, also looking at the market, looking at what kind of homes you guys would like to get into, maybe like a townhome, single family home, or duplexes, and so on and so forth.
And most people, when you're browsing, you're going to kind of start peeking around Zillow and Realtor.com and Homes.com, and you're going to kind of, oh, that's a cool house. Wonder how I could get in that one. But you're not serious enough to maybe want a realtor talking to you yet, or be wanting to really move. But most people here in browsing, they may spend a couple months here, or a couple days here, or a couple years here.
Yeah.
The important thing is we love working with people that are browsing, because we don't put pressure on. We're just like, hey,
Let's just go
we'll
look
help
at some
you.
houses.
We'll send you houses.
Yeah.
When you're ready to look at houses, we'll go. There's not a pressure to move unless you're totally ready.
This is also the step where you guys kind of figure out what's more important to you, the needs and the wants. How many kids do you guys have? Okay, well, we need this certain amount of rooms, and so on and so forth, right? The next step is obviously shopping, pre-approval. You'd have to meet with a realtor. We could represent you, and we'd kind of just push you over to Jeff. Jeff would be the guy that would actually see how much you guys make. He'd take all your information. You'd have to give him basically all your information as far as work history and your credit. He'll look over everything, and hopefully you can get pre-approved depending on your situation.
And what does that, tell them what that means. What does a pre-approved mean?
Yeah, pre-approved is you will basically get a letter that you've got pre-approved for a certain amount of money. So basically they'd say AJ qualifies for anything between $400,000 to $500,000, and he's approved for this certain amount of, his mortgage payment would be so and so, right? That's basically what it would be. So you'd have like a pre-approval letter, and then that's when you can go out there and start shopping. Obviously, once we do that, let's say we find a house for you. Next thing would be your realtor would help you find a good house, and then you guys would submit an offer, and you'd negotiate the terms, right? So you just, after that, you're basically solid. You're under contract. Let's say you do find a house.
Yeah. What does that mean, under contract?
Under contract. When you're under contract, you're basically coming into meeting of the minds, right? You and the seller will go under contract for 30 days, and determining those 30 days, you'll have a due diligence period where the house needs to be inspected, and you need to make sure it's a good house. After that, then 30 days come to the end, and boom, you've closed, right?
So what he's saying is, if you guys agree on the price with the seller, you guys will both sign, hey, I'm buying this house, and the seller's saying, yeah, I will take this much money for my house. And then you have a contract that you guys are both following on how the house is going to be sold.
Oh yeah,
That way people can't, if you agree on it, they can't have someone else come and shut off.
correct.
Yeah, exactly. Because if the seller, if they're sitting there and I'm paying $500 for the house, and I go under contract and we're working it out, and then on the last day someone says, hey, I'll pay you $550, they cannot take that. They have to honor the contract they made with me.
Right. Or that they would be breaching a contract, right? Then the contract could fall under not being valid, but that would hurt the other person. And most of the time is when you look at a house, you'd say, okay, I want to submit an offer. I'm serious about it. Prior to submitting an offer, you guys would have to give some earnest money down. Basically, it's kind of like showing how much skin in the game you've got.
It's a deposit.
So it's a deposit. Yeah. It's typically 1% of the purchase price of what the home is. But it could be anywhere, like let's say if you want to do $500, but obviously they're not going to take you seriously, so it has to be a substantial amount. Now with these loan programs that we're talking about, you really wouldn't have to worry about that, because, for example, like, AJ, I don't know if you want to add a little bit onto that. Most of the time, would you see that somebody submits an earnest money because they've got approved for, let's say, Utah Housing, or would they still have to do an earnest money deposit or no?
They will. So a contract in the state of Utah is not valid unless it is accompanied with some money. So even in the case of one of these special programs, you're going to need to do at least $500 to $1,000, and most likely the seller is going to prefer if you have $3,000 or $4,000, something like that, to show, hey, I'm
Right.
really serious about this.
And you can also get gift money too. So
Now, if you're doing one of these special programs that has a 0 down, they refund you that money at the closing table. So basically, it's just they're saying, hey, I'm serious. The financing comes in and replaces that, and you get your money back.
Okay, so yeah, I kind of skipped ahead. Due diligence period and the inspection period. So first 10 days, buyers usually inspect and revisit the home, looking for any major problems. Realtor will be able to negotiate repairs, and sometimes if a home has like a huge repair that needs to be done, you guys will get a credit. Or in this case, like I can even talk about a client that we helped out recently. The roof wasn't really good. It was almost coming to an end. And we said, well, hey, we got to replace this roof. And we were able to negotiate for them. And they paid $11,000 to fix the roof. And our buyers didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. That's why it's so important to have a realtor, because when it comes to that, most of the time, it's really hard for people that are just trying to buy on their own to be able to negotiate something like that.
Yeah, and real quick,
yeah.
I know that a lot of people are worried as well, as if I talk to a realtor, is this going to be a big fee? How does it work? We as buyers agents, in about 99.5% of the time, we are able to get the seller to pay the money that we earn. So it's a benefit to you guys. And also, if it ever were in a case that we couldn't get them to cover, what we'll do is we'll say, hey, the seller does not want to pay a commission to us, so we will step out of the deal and you guys can purchase it on your own, or we can go find a different house where the seller is willing to pay us. So I don't want you to worry. I know that we've got you here to a class. We're not trying to rope you into working with us in hopes that you're going to pay us a large fee. Our job is to bring as many people as possible to go and buy houses, and we're rewarded by the sellers.
Right. Well, yeah. So I want to let you guys know that, let's say further down the road, you guys want to buy a home. We also do home inspections. This is great because our inspectors go over the house and they give you on-the-spot report. And there's actually a list that they have for recommendations, and they'll give this to your realtor, and your realtor will go over this and say, okay, there's 20 items that are recommended that you need to change. But if there's a safety hazard, that's also going to be shown in the report. And that's why it's so important to do a home inspection, because then that gives you peace of mind that you're not walking into something that, later down the road, I don't know, the roof starts leaking, or foundation problems. So it's definitely really good. But
Jose, quick question: when
Yeah.
people are in their inspection period,
Uh-huh.
what if there's such a big problem that you don't want to buy the house anymore?
Oh yeah, well that's basically what I was iterating back to, which is if you find a huge problem, you still want to buy the home, so you'd end up looking for another home for you.
Yeah, so you'll
Yeah.
get your money back. Let's say that we go and you're like, hey, I love this house. We inspect it and we find out that it's falling off the cliff like the ones in Drake were. You can walk away. Your deposit will be returned to you. That inspection period is a time when your money's refundable.
Oh yeah.
And that's how you have leverage to get repairs, is because you can say, hey, look, unless you repair this, I don't want to buy the house.
Right.
And then usually the seller will say, okay, in that case, I'll pay for that $11,000 roof so that you still buy my house.
But if the inspection due diligence period ends, you kind of stuck with going forward with the contract. So that's why they give you that little time slot for you to make the best decision. And your realtor is always going to go over that with you and say, hey, just to let you know, this is what's going on.
Now,
It's your decision,
when that
right?
inspection period is over, your deposit becomes non-refundable, except
Yeah.
for 2 cases. There are 2 more reasons that you could get your money back if there's a problem, and those are called financing and appraisal. Do you want to tell us about those, Jose?
Yeah, so financing and appraisal is basically for the first 21 days, buyers using a mortgage will work out with the lender to finish the requirements, right? The mortgage, and they'll review the results of the appraisal. An appraisal is basically an opinion of value. A certified appraiser from a bank will go and look at the house and say, okay, well, this is, based on the home, this is what it's worth, but not necessarily exactly what it's worth. It's just an opinion of value. So if that comes short to what they have it on the market for, then that shows some kind of red flag, right? Why did they price it more than what it actually is worth, right? So if that's the case, you're able to back out. And that's always good because appraisals are great.
Yeah, and in the market that we're in today, if your appraisal, let's say that you bought the house for 500 and the appraiser says this is only worth 475. Now the seller has a big problem. You don't have a big problem. That actually is to your advantage, because now you can either walk away or the seller can, guess what? Lower the price.
Price match, yeah.
And if
Kinda
they
like
do
when you go
lower
to
the
the store.
price, you just save $25,000 and you got the same house and you are thrilled. Now, back in COVID, do you remember how crazy it was when everyone was buying houses, like houses were on the market for like 1 weekend and they're gone? Well, back then, people, they wanted the houses so badly that they were saying, I don't need an inspection or an appraisal or financing, just give me the house, and if something
way.
doesn't work out, keep my money. So people would go in and then they would find that the house had a terrible foundation problem and they would back out and lose like $5,000. I also saw people would go in and the appraisal would come up short and the buyer would have to go borrow from their mom an extra $15,000 to get the house to close because the seller was refusing to go down. Because they didn't have to, because they had offers lined up like crazy. Yes.
I'm just curious, so like, if we're doing an inspection on the house, is it just like, once we get to the appraisal process and it's lower than what they're selling it for? Is it because the inspection missed some things, like you said, like the foundation?
No, so inspections and appraisals are super different. So appraiser, all they are doing is looking at the how updated the house is, the year of the house, the square footage, and the location compared to homes just like it.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to go and they're going to pull the most recent 15 sales in the neighborhood within 2 miles. And then if it's way out of line, they're going to say, hey, this one seems like it's a crazy price. We only think it's worth this. And the appraiser's job, they are actually protecting who?
The bank.
The bank. Because the bank doesn't want to give you money on something that's not worth what you're saying it's worth. So the bank is actually coming in and say, before we give you this loan, we want to know that this house is actually worth $500,000.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Then after that, you go into basically the final walkthrough. Final days for closing, your buyer will usually go look at the house before you sign and just make sure everything's good, make sure that everything was fixed, that was on the inspection that needed to be fixed, and you should be good. After that, everything looks good, you go into closing and settlement, right?
Real quick on that, Jose, the final walkthrough is important because I have seen people go in and remove all the doors or walk off with the gate, or I haven't seen this, but I've heard of renters damaging and hitting the entire walls with sledgehammers and just destroying the house. So if you get to the final walkthrough and the house doesn't look the same as when you did the inspection period, you can now walk away and get your money back. They have to deliver the house that was advertised and sold to you. They can't change it all of a sudden.
True. Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then tell us about what closing and settlement looks like.
So basically, the company will prepare all the documents, host you in their office for signing party, right? So basically, it's a third party. You'll go to a title company and you'll sit down and review basically all of the term conditions of the contract. You'll basically get closing documents, and they'll show you like a breakdown of, how much money you're going to pay in interest, how much money you'll have to put up for escrow. It's basically a whole combination of what's going to happen for you to come into basically being a homeowner, right? And then you sign, and that's also where the money goes into. Basically, the deeds are transferred, and you have possession of the property. So that the seller no longer has possession of the property. You would get, so a couple of hours later, the financing is recorded. So basically what that means is the contract is fulfilled. The money that needed to be wired to the seller and to the buyer, it's all taken care of, and you have possession of your property. And you get the keys of your home, and then you guys are successfully a homeowner. So it's it's a really exciting process, but when you get here, a lot of my clients, they love going there, and we give them a closing gift, and it's a good day. Oh yeah.
Yep, and everybody that buys a house with the Griffin team gets a quilt. So,
Oh yeah.
and we give you some other stuff too to help out as you're moving in, but the quilt is my favorite part. So,
Yeah.
Traeger, we could definitely work that out.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, on the process, you guys, what questions remain? What do you guys have for me? Yes.
What's escrow? I hear it all the time, but I
Yeah.
always forget what it is.
So escrow is pretty similar to saying under contract. So if I'm saying a home is in escrow, that means that it's in a period where it's not finished, but it is started. It's kind of like just saying, hey, it's in no man's land. We're trying to get this finished up. And then, yeah, once they'll also say escrow is closed, meaning the house is now sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Clear as mud? Yes.
In Utah houses, what are some common scams or flukes that are good to avoid as a first time?
Some common scams or,
I guess, or even like,
So,
that seem better than they actually are.
yeah, so the main thing is especially if you're looking at a for sale by owner or something, you're never sending money to a person or overseas or to something, to anywhere other than like a brick and mortar location that says, hey, we're Backman Title Company or we're US Title Company. It's got to be like a place that you can go drive to. And then if you will verify with your realtor and or your mortgage person and or the title person before you send any money, that's the main area that people steal money from. There are some people that are using AI and they might impersonate Jose's voice. And you'll get some random call and it will kind of sound like Jose, but not really. And he's telling you that you got to drop everything and send $2,000 to Abu Dhabi. Well, they're a little
Or
more
give your
discreet
social
than that.
security number over the phone. Don't do none of that. Yeah.
So, but anyways, your lender will watch out for those kind of things. Your realtor will watch out for those kind of things, and your title person will watch out for those kind of things. If something looks like a scam or smells like a scam, talk to the people around that are helping you on this, and they're going to be able to tell you if it's legit or not. So, but yeah, if some person's like got it for sale by owner on Zillow, and they come over and they're like, oh yeah, like I'll give you this, it looks like a house that's like $400,000. He wants to sell it to you for $200,000, but he wants you to hurry and do it fast, and he wants you to send the money to his guy, and that's probably not true. So.
Yeah.
All right, so I talked a little bit earlier about credit and how I missed out on a very cheap condo. So let's talk about mortgages for a bit. So in order to get a mortgage, you're going to generally need a score above 620. There are a couple programs that are below that, but they really kill you on the interest rate. Do you guys know how to check your credit score? So also, you should have 2 to 3 lines of credit. So if you've got a car payment and maybe 2 credit cards, that's going to be enough. They want to have seen you have that for 1 year. You're also going to want to have, how do you think mortgages go if you are part-time? Does banks like that? They absolutely hate it. It's almost impossible to get a mortgage at a part-time job. Especially if your hours are like 10 and then next week they're 30 and next week they're 5 and then next week you went out of town and then the next week you made up for it with 40. It's really unpredictable for them and they don't feel good lending on it.
Yeah.
What about if you own a business? Anybody own a business in here? Yeah.
Right on.
What business do you guys own?
It's just a small, I'm a landscape designer.
Landscape design.
Oh,
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, we should work together. We
Yeah.
help build a lot of new homes. Yeah. What do you do?
Like I work as an aircraft mechanic, and so I have my own LLC set to the side to
Yeah.
do it for friends and family or
Wow.
people that are connected to them.
So how do mortgages work with people that own businesses? You guys ever looked into it?
Isn't it like 2 or 3 years of like consistent interest rate?
They generally want to see 2 years. And let's say that last year I made $20,000 and then this year I made $80,000. They're going to average those 2 years and they're going to say you made about 40,000, so we'll give you and we can talk about debt to income. Basically, if you take your full paycheck before taxes, let's say that that's $6,000 a month, you divide that by 2, $3,000 is the most your monthly payment could be that they're going to lend on.
So it's 25%, no more than
50%.
50%.
50%. Yeah.
50% of their.
So if I'm a business owner and I had a really bad year last year and this year is a good year, I'm going to be limited. But if I can have 2 good years in a row, I'm going to be pretty much golden. So when you guys are trying to get ready for a mortgage,
So sorry.
yes, sir.
Does that also apply for jobs where it's like commission-based jobs and stuff like that?
Yeah, paid 1099 commission. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So with both credit and jobs, let's say you and your spouse are going in on buying a home together.
Yeah.
One spouse has a steady, stable job. The other it's less consistent. Maybe they have a small business, something like that. Also, one spouse has great credit because they have like 3 lines of credit. They constantly use their credit. The other never touches it because their spouse always does.
Right.
How does that affect it?
So a double-edged sword. So if one spouse has bad credit, it's going to hurt both. If one spouse makes a lot of money and the other doesn't, it's going to benefit both. So what they're going to do is they're going to look at how much money that you guys make together, and that's the number they start at according to what you can qualify now for. Now, if one of you has bad credit, they're going to look at that and be like, "Hey, man, what's going on here?" And they're going to be wary to lend on that because they don't know if you're reliable to do
no
it.
credit the same as bad credit?
Usually, yeah.
Okay.
So if you have no credit, here's what I highly recommend. Go and get like a Mountain America card, put Netflix on it, put it on auto pay, forget about it, put it in the drawer. Maybe get one more credit card or a phone bill or a small car payment. But if you guys will spend maybe 2 or 3 years and pay on time every time on your credit cards and car payments, you'll have like 700 or 800 credit score. You'll get the very best rate when you buy a house.
And even after, when you get a home, it'll be like 4 to 6 months and your credit will actually increase. So getting into a home will actually help you guys, with your credit. So it'll take a hit at the beginning, but then boom, you're up in the 750s, 800s,
Yeah. Also, so if you are getting ready to buy a house, be super careful with your credit. So I've seen a few times where people are they go in escrow or under contract, and they're so excited they run to RC Willey's and they finance a sofa. And I have seen people do that and they now no longer qualify because it hurt their credit and it hurt their debt to income ratio, that they could no longer qualify for the house. And so now they have a great sofa and no house.
Yeah.
So be super careful on that. If let's say you guys, what's an ideal timeline for getting in a house in your personal situations? Are you guys months away, years away? A goal you have in a year or 2 or 5? Can anybody share?
I would like to say 12 months, hopefully.
12 months, okay.
Right on.
Hopefully 24. Yeah, about the same.
24 months,
About the same, 12, yeah.
12 months. You guys, 12 to 24. Cool. So you guys at that spot, definitely take a look at your credit. If you have less than 3 lines of credit, so go get that third one, and just start hitting all your on-time payments. And then I would try to avoid taking any more credit out. Just let those 3 bake and cook and get ready to go, and that'll help your credit jump into the 700s, and it's going to save you hundreds of dollars a month on your mortgage.
Oh, yeah.
So no large purchases. When you go in escrow, that 30 days seems like a long time to purchase something. There's a lot of work that the lender has to do. So when the lender comes and asks you for this and that paperwork, hustle and get them that as fast as you can, because they have they got to submit things and they have to wait for someone at the government level to say yes or no, and then they have to do it over and over again. Anyway, it's a complicated process. When you are trying to purchase, that is not a good time to change your job. You can change it a week after or even a day after closing, but not a day before, or you could lose your house. And if you change that and you're like 1 day from closing, you'd lose your deposit too. So I've almost seen this happen once where they quit their job like 3 days before closing. The lender did some black magic voodoo, and he hid some things here and brought some things here, and they barely got their house, but it was not a good situation, and it was almost devastating for them because they were moving from out of state and they were going to be homeless and be scrambling for a rental. So on this mortgage tips, what other questions do you guys have?
It's one of those like when you're there, like the more specific, but they're general. I guess.
Yeah. Yes. Did you have one?
Oh, I do now. But,
Yeah.
So the interest rate and mortgage are tied together, or they're separate?
Yeah, so the mortgage, that all that means is it's a note that's saying they're gonna bring the money to buy the house for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the mortgage is always gonna have an interest rate tied to it that's tied to the market at the time.
So with that, are there any like disadvantages to refinancing to get a lower interest rate?
Yes, because every time that you refinance and they redraw the whole loan, there's a fee. Usually it's around $4,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
So what they're going to do is they're going to look at your loan and they're going to say, currently your payment is $3,000 a month. If we refinance it, it'll go to $2,800 a month. So you're saving $200 a month, but you're paying $4,000 for the privilege to do so. So that's going to take 20 months to break even. And you might say, okay, after 20 months, I still plan on being here, so let's do it. Yeah. And yeah.
With locking the rate, because right when you started, and we know interest rates fluctuate, so let's say, hey, I'm putting it in, I get that pre-approval, but then, right, like you said, hey, we've even seen low as 5, but then later on, I'm still searching, I'm still looking, or
Yeah.
whatever, and I see that lower. Is that something where, hey, that changes, or does it lock it in a negative way where it's like, hey, no, it's that 6.1 instead of that 5.7?
So basically, when you buy a house, on that day that you buy it, the lenders, it's going to be what it is. There will be about a 1 or 2 week period that the lender can drop down again, but after a certain date, you got to stay put. So yeah, and if you're shopping and you haven't bought a house yet, you're subject to whatever the market does. It might go down in your favor or it might go up in your favor. To be honest, the mortgage rates, they're fairly stable, so you're not going to get burned really bad either way, except when you're comparing it year over year. But it might go $100 up or $100 down depending on your luck. So
Yeah, so very important not to get into a fluctuating interest rate. A fixed rate is always better.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to see, you guys know D.R. Horton? You heard of that builder? They have townhomes and single family homes there. Usually you go into their community and every house looks the same for about 50 houses in a row. Well, actually like 500 in a row. It is what it is. Some people like them, some people hate them. They are offering what's called an adjustable rate mortgage. These are a little risky. Have you guys heard of these before?
It'll go up and down, but I've heard of the builder
Yeah.
mortgage incentives, where they'll start you off at like, hey, 2%, then like year 2, maybe like 3%, then year 4,
Yeah.
5, and then it'll go to what.
Then I'll go back to what it was. So D.R. Horton right now is doing a 7.6 adjustable rate. So for 7 years, they will give you a 3.8%, which is awesome right now, right? But at the end of 7 years, it can go up to 6%. So you might all of a sudden be at 9%
But you
Oh,
could
it can
sell.
go up
at the end of the
additional
7 years.
6%.
Exactly. So it's risky.
Yeah.
Now, you can refinance out of it, and you're going to definitely want to before the 7 years are up. But if the market really goes sideways, you could be making a bad decision. There are also D.R. Horton does pretty commonly give you a 4.99 30-year fixed, which is a great program. And yeah, you already talked about the buy downs. Those are called 2-1 buy downs or 3-2-1 buy downs. That's a credit from the seller. Now, all these different buy down programs, they do kind of have a catch, because that means the seller has probably overpriced the home so that they can give you the credits back. So you will see often in the D.R. Horton communities, the first 3 to 5 years, people are losing money if they have to sell.
Yeah.
If they want to keep it for 5 to 10 years, it doesn't make a big difference. But if they buy it and they need to like get out fast, they usually got to take a wash on it. So, any more questions on this? Okay, so FHA loans, conventional loans, and VA loans. You guys ever heard these terms thrown around? So FHA is a program that helps people that either have very little to put down or have very bad credit. They are not the best type of loans because they are going to penalize you where? Interest rate. And they're going to also penalize you in what's called mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is a fee that you pay, and who does that insure? The bank, in case you don't pay. Yeah. So FHA, the reason that it's really not a very good loan is because they are going to make you pay an upfront mortgage insurance that'll be about 1% of the entire purchase price. And they're going to make you pay an additional percent spread out over the 12 months. So it's going to really hurt your payment. If you can get to a conventional, you're going to avoid that. They do have a small PMI that's like $80 a month, but that one's a lot more reasonable. And once you... What's that?
PMI is private mortgage.
Yeah, PMI is private mortgage. And once you get 20% down, so if you have, I don't know, $100,000 down on a $500,000 home, private mortgage insurance disappears completely because they know that you've got the money in the house. Finally, VA loans. Anybody here a veteran?
I'm in the National Guard.
Okay, cool. So yeah, definitely take advantage of these. VA is probably the best type of loan you could ever get because you can do 100% financing. They will give you a primo interest rate, no private mortgage insurance, and they will also, they'll cover closing costs and a whole bunch of other things. So VA loans, thank you for your service. They're awesome. It's one of the best perks you can get. So
In my situation, so with the way the National Guard works, because when you're active, it's a little quicker.
yeah,
National Guard, it's after the first contract, so I have like a year or two left. In my head, I was thinking of, because if you do an FHA loan, to at least get in, and then like, I thought you could refinance with the VA loan. Is that something that's possible? Or?
yeah, you definitely can.
Okay.
You will have to probably pay. Well, so when you refinance, by the way, guys, it may be $4,000 or $5,000 to execute the refinance, but they just put it on the balance, so it's not like you got to come up with that in cash. So, but yeah, if you do the FHA, it could be worth it. I mean, our average appreciation for a year is about 4%. 4% on $500,000 is a lot more than the refinance fee. So, all right. So, type of homes. So, in real estate, most of the homes that people buy are what? Yeah, and you see these on Zillow every day, right? It's your mom and dad's house or your friend's house or some house from the 1950s, or it could be from 2023, right? But all these homes have been lived in or used before, kind of like a used car, right? All right. Then there's new construction homes. Who are some builders you guys know? Who?
I mean, you just said D.R. Horton.
D.R. Horton.
Vitruvius, Olinda. I could name a lot.
Right. Yeah. I'm mostly thinking of like who are the big ones that are kind of like Walmart, like they just build houses like hundreds and hundreds per year.
Is it S&S Homes?
S&S Homes is huge, especially in St. George. Edge Homes, I call them fall off the edge home. They have a house in Draper that fell off.
Oh, no way.
Visionary Homes, they're huge. They're a sponsor of the Utah Jazz. Who are some more up here?
Terrata Homes. I've heard of Richmond as well, and
Salisbury Homes.
Salisbury.
So these are generally called tract builders, meaning there's probably not a lot of customization. They just kind of have a house. You might get to choose the floor plan, and you might get to choose from
Unless you get the model home.
unless you have the model home, but you might
Has all
get
the
to choose
upgrades.
from white countertops or black countertops, and that's about it, right? Now, because of this, you usually can get a better deal. They usually have interest rates tied to them, and because they are building so many, they pass some of the savings on to you, right? Generally speaking, though, they are about 5 to 10% more expensive than a pre-owned home of the same square footage. And then the last one, typically, so this is home building. You could either have one of these companies make you a home, and they may let you start from the dirt in a community they already have, or you may go to them and say, hey, I would like you to build a home on this lot. And you could also skip the big companies, and you could hire a general contractor, and that could be a one-man shop. And he just has a bunch of subcontractors that work for him. But he's built houses, been successful at it, knows how to do it, and he's been approved by the bank. So we here at the Griffin team, most of the work we do is with pre-owned homes. We do a lot of new construction, and we have 4 or 5 builders that work with us to help people get their houses built. Now, in Cedar, I've got a great builder that is on the lower end of things. He's figured out a way to make a really affordable home. So, for example, he can he can build a 1,700 square foot 3-bedroom house for about $305, and then you buy a piece of land in Cedar. The land's like $80,000. You can get a really awesome brand new single family home under $400. Not going to happen in Pleasant Grove though.
Yeah.
We also work with other builders. One of them, they're called Le Marini Construction, and they build $4 to $8 million houses, and it's like $380 a square foot.
Yeah.
Super premium, awesome,
Typically 4,000 to
but they're not
7,000
for the
square
average
feet.
person. So, yeah. Any questions about this?
I guess first looking into the house, because I've heard like the nightmare kind of stories of like new construction home, and you guys talked about the importance of getting a home inspection, right?
Right.
My Instagram feed is full of these videos. But I forgot his name, but I think he's in Arizona. He'll come and do home inspections, and he's like, oh, this needs to be fixed. This needs to be
Yeah, I know that guy.
fixed."
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I know who he is. I've
Yeah,
watched
I
him.
forgot his name, but he has like a ton of cease and desist or whatever.
Oh
But
gosh.
like, and most of those are like the new construction homes.
Yeah.
Is that like, would you agree with like, hey, Utah and those home builders that you talked about, like, is that like kind of the common issue with those new construction homes, or?
Yeah, so here's the deal. I worked in new construction for a builder. They're called Holmes Homes. Do you guys know that one? So I've done about 100 homes for Holmes Homes. Now, I've seen them build some really awesome homes, and I've also seen some really terrible homes that they built. And having worked for the builder at that point, I had more sway and influence to go and get after people, because I don't want to sell a bad home and have my name tied to that. So yes, I would always recommend a home inspection, even on new construction. Most of the cities are pretty good at policing these builders and making sure that they build quality. But things do slip through the cracks, especially things that are not necessarily the bones of the house, but like maybe they do a bad job putting your cabinets together. That's something the city's not going to watch very closely.
Or the carpet.
Yeah, they might put the cheapest carpet or not do a good job installing the carpet, or on and on and on. But for the most part, there are really good regulations in place to make sure that the house has a good foundation and is framed well, or else they don't usually get very far as a builder.
Except that home.
Yeah, except the home and
Except
draper.
for that one, yeah.
That one was more, I think, the engineering. Whoever did the engineering soils report messed it up or fibbed or something. So, well, anyways, this is the end of our content. What I did want to do real quickly, though, is show you, it's called the multiple listing service. So when you guys are browsing on Zillow and all those different places, that is an okay place to browse for sure. The houses a lot of them are on there. But on the MLS is the most complete. And also this MLS is going to allow us to see what other people actually paid for houses like that. So on Zillow, just because someone says they want 500,000 for their house may be worth 400. Jose and I are members of the multiple listing service, and due to that, we can invite you into our portal. It's totally free, and you can browse and see the stuff that's most up to date. And you can also ask us, hey, what is a house like this? What should it actually go for? Is this overpriced? Okay, so that kind of thing. And then I also wanted to show you guys a few houses that are conceivable for maybe your guys' situation. Oh, sorry, I can't type very well. So our MLS here in Utah County and Salt Lake County is called utahrealestate.com. So we'll, after the meeting, we'll get everyone invited over your emails, and you guys can browse all you want. And Utah Real Estate, that's where everything comes from, and then they let Zillow list it. Usually the data on Zillow is a little bit old. They'll let all these other websites list it, and that's how we get homes sold, is that the MLS eventually markets it to thousands and thousands of websites. But it's kind of like the rumor where you like tell someone, and then they tell someone, and they tell someone, and they tell someone. By the time you're 10 times removed, some of the facts are left out.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so where do you guys want me to look? Does anybody want to live in Pleasant Grove, or where are you guys looking? Pleasant Grove, cool.
Okay.
And what are you guys paying for rent right now?
I'm doing 1,700 with everything.
Nice.
That's pretty good. Anybody higher than that? What do you guys got? What's that?
Well, okay, 2,000.
2,000, okay. Anybody else higher than that?
But that's factoring utilities and everything, or just your mortgage?
400.
Okay. Cool.
I know. We're moving this month.
Right on. Well, that's good.
Who thinks they have the lowest rent in here?
Mine's pretty low with
What do you got?
utilities. It's about $14.50.
That's really good. Where are you finding that, man?
We're like a 2-minute walk north of the BYU Stadium.
Okay,
Oh, right on.
cool. Good. That's a good spot. I hope you're there on game day, huh?
You don't have to go there. You can just listen.
You can just hear it. Whether you want to or not, you're going to hear
Oh
it.
gosh.
Watch it on TV, but I hear the actual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the TV's like 2 minutes behind, so if we watch it, you'll hear the stadium go wild. It's like, hey, something's about to happen.
That's so funny.
By there too, actually, it was crazy.
I'm also going to invite you guys to download an app called The Mortgage Pal. Are you guys iPhone? I think it's on Android too, but I don't really know about the world of Android. So anyway, Mortgage Pal, this is what I use on a daily basis, and it's really great to use when you're shopping on Utah Real Estate and you're like, well, I just want to know how much
What
it
does
is
it look
before I
like?
bother AJ.
What does the logo look like? So then they can kind of see, because sometimes when I was looking for it, I couldn't find it on the app.
It's
so-
got a house, it's like a 4 boxes. It's free.
That's the first one that pops up.
Yeah, first one that pops
Oh,
up.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't find it last time when I was trying to download it.
Yeah, it's on Android. It's one word. No.
So if you guys want to follow along with me, if you've got it up, do you guys need another minute or two? Yeah, I'll give you a second.
Wow, that's the only thing that's available in Pleasant Grove?
No, there's more.
Oh, okay, I was like, dang, that's...
He set max level.
I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. Like, what's... Oh, gosh.
So I started my career in Pleasant Grove, Provo area, and that was in 21, 22. I started real estate like 1 month before the crash. So I learned to do real estate in the worst market. Our interest rates went up 2%. Everyone's like, pound sand, realtor, we're not buying a house at 7%. But somehow still sold a few, which is great. But this is great to see because when I was doing real estate, a little townhome like this was like $420 in Pleasant Grove, and so I'm like, oh look, that's pretty cheap now.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll take this one for an example. So if you guys want to follow along, you start up at the very top, purchase price. We'll work on getting that down, but just let's go $329 for now to see what we're working with. And then it's probably good to say, okay, what would it look like if I just did this zero down program? Because my goal is to convince you guys not to rent and to just buy a house now, of course, right? So if it was zero down, my interest rate's going to pop in about 6.5, especially on a zero down. It's not going to hit the lowest at 6, but we're going to say it's 6.5. I want a 30-year fixed rate. My property taxes, it's about 1% of the price, and then you divide that by 2 if it's your primary home.
I think it does. You could see it here.
Don't worry about it now.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to worry about it right now. But on a home like that, I can tell you it'll be about $1,700 a year. So we'll put that in here at $1,700 a year. My insurance is going to be, well, this one has an HOA, so that will cover our insurance, but we do need to factor in our HOA there.
HOA.
And we could talk about HOAs all day too, so
You said
let me know if you guys want to.
Is how much?
About $1,700 a year.
Well, the percentage?
It's about 1% of the valuation, and there's a 55% exemption in the state of Utah if it's your home that you live in.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a primary residence.
HOA information?
Yeah, I'm looking for that real quick.
It's right at the top.
It's right under property features.
Oh,
304.
304.
Dang.
So that is a bit steep. However, let's make sure we know what's included because it may not be as bad as you think. So you get a clubhouse, a gym, you get your insurance paid. And on a home that doesn't have it in an HOA, that insurance is going to be about $100 a month. So there's one of our $300. Maintenance paid, so a home like this is going to have the roof covered. Playground, pool, sewer. So that's good. Sewer is about $50 a month. Snow removal, trash is paid, and water is paid. That's about $100 a month, and internet is paid. That's about $50 a month. So yeah, I know $300 is a lot for HOA, but it's not as bad as it looks. So anyway, we'll factor in that HOA of 304, and then our PMI is going to be about a half per. Well, if you're doing a zero down, it's going to probably be a full % a year. Okay, what number did you guys get? Do we get the same math here?
2,900.
2,900. Anybody different?
Did you put something in for PMI rates?
I put 1% on the PMI per year.
Yeah, I got 2,916,
Yeah. So now we know if you're going to spend $329,000, you got to be coming to terms with a $2,900 mortgage. So if you're here and you're like, oh man, that sounds terrible, probably not ready yet. However, we can go back to the very start where it says if it's a stretch but you can do it because it's going to get better over time, and the time value of money is going to help you out. But yeah, if you're used to paying $1,800 a year and $2,900 is going to knock you out, please don't buy a house right now.
Yeah.
So, any questions on this, you guys?
It was fun to see.
Yeah.
Even if you did like a 10K down payment, you'd think it'd move it a lot.
Well, if you do 10K down, we can take the PMI down to 0.5% because they're not going to penalize you as hard. So if you do 10K down, that'll get you down to about 2,600.
Yeah, which is, I was like, it's not, like the difference is
Yeah.
not much.
Yeah.
But personally, I mean, the way that I view real estate is I'd rather probably pay $2,900 and keep the cash in my pocket for a rainy day. Because I can pay the mortgage for a long time on that money before I run out of money, and by then I'll get more money. So, any other questions on this, you guys? Cool. Jose, do you have anything else to say?
I'm just, I'm excited because this is a step to basically investing in yourself. You guys here on a Friday, not all the people are investing in their mind and in their future, because this is really your future. So I just want to thank you guys for coming, and I'm excited. AJ, do you want to say anything?
I'd like to do the raffle right now. So
Oh,
we brought
yeah, we have a
brought a
raffle.
quilt. And I have some Chick-fil-A gift cards as well. I think everybody likes those, right? And then I also wanted to say too, thank you so much for spending your Friday night with us. It means a lot. I know that there's a lot more fun things to do. And then as kind of a caboose to that, if you guys would like, we will give you our personal cells. We love real estate. We do it 24/7. We probably drive our significant others a little bit crazy because we're always working. But that's because we love it and we love helping people and we love seeing people find the right house. I've also found in my career that usually when you're shopping for a house, people kind of end up where they're supposed to be. Yeah, and I've seen people kind of try to force something will happen with the inspection, blah, blah, blah. And then we go and then we find the next house and they're like, oh, this is right where we want to be and this is a perfect neighborhood and this is where our kids need to grow up. It's a really fun thing to do. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to grab the raffle real quick.
Yeah, I don't think that one opens.
All right, so this is our raffle. This is a Minky quilt made by a crew in St. George. And if you ever buy a house, you'll get one too. So. All right. Ooh. Joseph,
Nice.
congratulations, man. And then I think we can still get a few more winners out of this as well. All right, Chick-fil-A, Chad.
Hey.
And then we'll do one more. Chick-fil-A, Ivan.
Nice.
Okay.
Right on.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming. We'll be here for the next 30 minutes if you guys want to come and talk to us about about your personal situation with real estate. We'd love to hang out. But otherwise, thanks for coming and spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.